DDS Squad Pod. I am your host, the Enforcer, Len Anderson, joined this fine evening by almost a full squad, plus D-Star N in the house for a fantasy football draft. Right, how you doing, bud?
It's hard being the champ.
I don't think they can't see that.
Back to you.
Can they see that?
No,
See that?
Ryan,
It's hard being the champ. They can hear it. They can see it, but they can hear it.
visually impaired here. Ryan is holding up the fantasy football championship belt that he won last year, and took that belt from Don, who held it on a shelf for a full year.
A dusty shelf.
It wasn't my shelf.
No, it was on under. Oh, it was. Oh, that's right.
Your shelf?
Oh, yeah, my
Wait, so
shelf
you don't
that I kept. Yeah, that I kept it on in my room.
Yeah, that's where it was? Yeah. It was in your room. Okay. Yeah.
I think
Now
we
you
need to
have the story.
discuss some things
Okay,
here
well.
later on, maybe.
I can tell you where it was.
C plus.
The name.
Did you clean it very well when you
C
got
plus.
Kyle?
So-
ring a bell.
So we just drafted for this year's fantasy football draft.
C plus.
And Ryan got a C+.
C plus.
it? Ryan got some.
man.
That's above average.
I wonder what I got. I'll have
Hey,
to
what did
I
look.
get?
So
That's like 20
So
points
what is-
higher than I ever got in a test in high school or college.
Did those all come
So,
through
fuck
in
it.
like your emails and stuff?
Yeah, it did. It did. It was an email.
I'll have to check my email.
My
a little
report
bit later,
card
'cause I'm in the
says.
middle of recording.
So how was I the number one and I
C
was
plus.
a B minus?
Well, dude, you know,
Well, we
that
all
just
sucked.
means-
You just sucked less.
That's it.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
That's my grade.
That's why we're a squad. We're here to do things together.
Lower than a C plus.
Lower.
Did I get D for Don?
Hey, listen, that's better than grades I got in high school.
That's what I said. It was like 20 points greater than whatever I got in high school and college. So I'll take the C
Rock
plus.
on.
So we got a good
Anyway,
show.
do
We
the
got a good
math.
show tonight for everybody here. I was just telling the guys off air that I went up to the Sports Entertainment Experience store and IWTV Studios, and got to sit down with our good friend John Sebastian, and we talked a lot of different topics, including what we're going to talk about right now, the move from the WWE Network to USA Network for NXT to go up against AEW Wednesday nights live at 8 o'clock on the USA Network now. Kind of crazy, but we kind of saw this coming, right?
I think it seemed like it was. We were looking forward to it. I think I still am very unclear about the particulars. From what I understand, WWE jumped ahead of AEW for the move. So
yeah, they
they're
wanted to
going
get on. Vince wanted to get on the air 2 weeks or a little bit before AEW, so that way they can essentially establish NXT as the Wednesday night show.
Okay, but here's a couple of things that I have for thinking about that now that we're talking about it. Are we talking about a 2-hour show?
We're talking a 2 hour, so NXT is now going 2 hours. So
Okay.
there's a lot of pros and cons to this one, right? There's
Khan's not here.
Khan is not here.
don't get me started.
Sorry.
Heel turn.
Heat. I have heat with Conrad right now. Sorry, folks.
Coach underscore BB for those of you.
On a side note, real quick, now that we brought it up, we will not have the second round of Bone for you this week. We'll just have us bullshitting about this and
So stay tuned.
hashtag stay tuned.
To be continued on the Bone.
Instead of-
Maybe the following week it can be at Boner.
Well, so here's the
Battle of New England returns because you had
Here's the
to
problem.
return to it.
He isn't going to be here next Saturday either for AEW, so we're not going to be able to record next weekend either. So it's going to be a couple weeks. We're going to leave you guys hanging with the Bone round 2 and finals.
Let's just make sure that we keep it in everybody's minds.
Yes, we will continue to discuss it, but
Don't let them forget.
no, we won't. But right now, we're talking NXT moving to the USA Network, going 2 hours and competing with AEW.
Oh yeah, so that's kind of what my question was. So like I said, I don't have a whole lot of. I just saw that it was going to start in September. I was actually going back. September
September 18th.
September 18th. My dad had talked to me about it because my dad pays some attention to it, being that my nephew watches Raw and SmackDown, and he sometimes watches it with my nephew and. My dad got that information, and then he was passing along with me saying September, and I was like, Dad, are you sure? I thought it was supposed to be like the week or two after. And he was like, yeah, I'm sure. So I was like, okay. So my dad's like breaking news for me. But anyways, yeah. So at any rate, so we're talking about WWE's jumping the gun a couple of weeks ahead of AEW, but they're going to put their, I'm going to say it because everybody knows how I feel about the main roster of stuff. Their best show, they're going to now move it to a network. And they're going to make it twice as long. And apparently we're all supposed to jump and hurry over to watch it when it starts on September 19th, which, don't get me wrong, I will be watching. However, I feel like the polished product is a long way away from September 18th when it comes to NXT.
Okay, so when you say polished product...
They're going to ruin it, is what I'm saying, Len. Ruin it. Vince's hands are going to get all over it. He's going to have his fingerprints on it. He's going to kiss my ass. Somebody kiss my ass.
The Kiss My Ass Club's coming back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pete Dunne's not kissing his ass.
No.
He's got a belt in his mouth. He can't kiss his ass.
He doesn't have a belt right now.
He doesn't have to have a belt to have the belt in his mouth. It's a metaphor.
It's a title.
It is a title.
Belts hold your pants up.
Belts do hold your pants up. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so it's gonna be live from Full Sail, which is a positive because then you don't have to tour, so they can save money there. Production costs will be down. They get $50 million from USA Network to run the show for the year. That's not chump change.
No, but where's it going? Is it going to healthcare?
No, but the guys are getting raises. They will be. Everybody that is on NXT will be paid, and this is coming from Uncle Dave Meltzer. He's
not my uncle.
They will be paid main roster contract fees.
Hashtag not my uncle.
Hashtag not your husband.
All right, so that's sweet and everything. However, I just feel like there's going to be an awful lot of things that need to be ironed out while we're... Is it live?
It's going to be live, yeah.
See what I mean?
You don't know.
Well, I'm saying I don't know also that I don't know, but on top of it, you're changing a show from a 1 hour show to a 2 hour show.
Pre-tape to a live show.
It was forgive me for the term, but it was raw. Like we enjoy it because it's mostly focusing more on the wrestling rather than the 20-minute storytelling. It's also commercials in the middle of matches. Can we talk about commercials while matches are going on?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess the finish isn't coming anytime soon. Whoop, I guess I'm going to change it to the game.
Well,
that's what I do.
But they do that now.
Well, I don't watch it anymore.
You don't have the network.
No, I don't watch the crap that's on USA Now.
Holy crap.
Well, I'm sorry. There are people out there that like WWE and SmackDown and Raw and SmackDown, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry there are people that like it.
Show me those people.
I was going to say...
wrestling is for everybody. That's not wrestling.
My point is... you can call it shit. We swear here. You don't have to call it crap.
Oh, it's been a long week. It's been a long week. We're the Dudo Crap Squad, everybody. DDC.
Oh, you're gonna have to get that tattoo changed, aren't you?
Oh man,
it's a henna.
Okay, so
yeah, that was fun.
So that was Ryan's opinion, huh? But no, so I got some questions about it though, right? Okay. So
well, go ahead and ask.
You were. I want your guys' opinions because you're the target audience, I guess.
Because of mold?
Oh man,
I'm outside of the target audience mostly everywhere at this point, except for Medicare.
So
AARP.
So
senior discounts.
You brought up Vince maybe getting involved, right? So
maybe
right now Hunter is saying it's reported on the Pro Wrestling Sheet that NXT won't change on USA. Hunter will still be in charge.
Right.
That's good. They should definitely report that.
I don't believe that.
Until we see the fingerprints all over it.
Right.
Okay.
As soon as it hits live TV and the big money, right?
Yeah,
50 million? Vince is going to be all over that.
Well, yeah, and you also got to think now it's an established brand. It's not a developmental anymore. It's a brand. But that leaves you wondering. Okay, so these are a couple questions I wrote down. Right. What are you watching live once AEW kicks on? You got two choices, right? And I'm not saying this is the only thing on TV, but I'm saying this is the only thing on TV. You got to watch NXT or AEW. What are you watching live?
I'm probably, if we're talking just Wednesday, like
Just
I'm watching
Wednesday
I'm probably watching NXT, but only because I will get to see
Marco Stunt.
Well, that did not help, believe me. But no, it's the Riddle chance. It's the Keith Lee. It's it's the seeing those guys again for me because I haven't had the network.
Yeah.
So I haven't really seen them. So I get to see the guys I miss, right?
Okay.
That I haven't seen. Now,
Okay.
I mean, there's obviously positives to the AEW also, but there are very high negatives for me. We won't get into that, but
No, we will. Go. Shoot. Come on.
I don't want to say his name.
That's all right. That's what this is for.
They
is what this is about.
They signed Marco Stunt.
Okay, why do you
Really?
I want to know, why don't you like Marco? He's a really nice kid.
He's a kid.
He's 22 years old. I think something like that. 21 years old.
They should have taken Wheeler Yuta. I'd rather see him than
Eventually
Marco
they will.
Stunt. Yeah, right.
Eventually they will.
Yeah, but
Marco's got a popularity. So remember how
doesn't
popular
impress me.
Spike Dudley was, and Spike was that little guy who took the crazy bumps. It's Marco.
Are you really okay?
Marco's a little guy who does crazy stuff and pops a crowd, and he's popular. He's only really been on the main stage for a year.
How long did Spike Dudley last? Like, I mean, was he really?
He had a good WWE run.
He trained Vinny.
Oh,
There's that. You gotta give him.
we saw him at what?
Who?
What? What?
He was at what in the balcony, standing like probably about 50 feet away from us, watching the show.
I'm sure
like
he's
a
a
villain.
nice child.
But then Teddy Hart was standing like even closer, drinking a beer, watching the show, petting his cat.
That's
That
cat.
was kind of fun.
Anyway, so that's my thought. I mean, it's not. It's a tough choice
Yeah.
either way. No, absolutely. But for me, I think the thing for
And both you guys are both cord cutters.
really,
So neither one of you have a DVR.
right, correct. I really, really miss seeing Riddle and Lee, and I liked seeing Hero.
Yeah.
And whatever the hell his name is in
Cassius
NXT.
Yeah.
I miss.
No,
those
okay,
guys.
no, it's fair. It's a very fair and valid point. But like I said, neither one of you have DVRs, so it's not like you're going to go and say, and neither one of you have the network. So
I can record it with. It's now AT&T or whatever, but
Okay.
it's AT&T TV, not DirecTV now. But that's what I have.
Okay.
And I do have like the ability to record it. I've done that, and then I never go back to it because it's just a different presentation on it.
All right.
But I don't want to go away from it. I don't want to interrupt, but.
No.
I want to kind of repeat what Jamie said, but my point would be name recognition. If Riddle and Lee and Dijak.
Jesus, I forgot Dijak. I'm sorry. How did I forget that?
Dijak, whatever. If they're on my TV, I'll be watching it, but I'll also be flipping and watching AEW for the guys that we got to see recently in the last couple of years and got relatively close to what have you. But I mean, I feel like for me that I very much am looking forward. I will say it. I am looking forward to the Monday Night Wars, the Wednesday night.
It's going to be the
Wars because it's going to be. We're going to be switching back and forth.
Yep.
It's going to be a thing.
Right.
Wednesday is going to be. Oh wait, no, it already was appointment TV. Never mind. So Wednesdays are still going to be appointment TV.
Because you were watching something else on Wednesday.
Right. It's
going to
be
watching that on Thursday.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I've got 2 days that I'm actually going to watch live wrestling.
So your buddy Sammy Bram Muffins tweeted out, "What am I going to watch on Tuesdays and Thursdays now?"
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, you could just tune into IWTV live and watch the Discovery Gauntlet, whatever that's going to be called on Tuesday nights." And I think we just
found out,
that
didn't
it's going to
we?
be called Treasure Hunt.
Yeah.
And then on Thursdays, I said you can watch Uncharted Territory. There you go, Sam. Plenty of wrestling to go around, bud.
There you go.
Did he respond or anything?
No. But Beyond tweeted out.
Yeah, are you going to get sued?
No, I should be all right.
Okay, good.
I should be all right.
what I was getting back to, I was trying to hit at was it's going to be Wednesday. It's going to be like you and Sean bouncing in the TVs, right? You're going to be like
back
Monday
in the day,
nights.
it was he had a small apartment, probably the size of my family room, all the way back to Austin's bedroom over there, and I would be in the living room, and he would be in his bedroom, and he'd have Raw on in there, and I'd have Nitro on in the living room, and we'd be running back and forth, and we'd have VCRs going, 2 VCRs, and we recorded everything. Because that's how you watch it back then. Now we got DVRs. So my plan with the DVR is I'm going to watch AEW live. Especially the first week. Because that first week of AEW, Jericho versus the Young Bucks with mystery tag team partners. Speculation coming directly from the enforcer Len Anderson and nobody else that
Cody and right, it's Cody and a tag team.
I thought
it's Jericho and the Young Bucks versus Cody and a special tag team, right? Is it, or is it who?
No, it's Jericho
and the Young Bucks.
No, it's Jericho and 2 unnamed partners.
Is it Cody and the Young Bucks
Against, I thought it was, I don't know. Maybe it's Cody and the Young Bucks. Maybe it's
all right.
Omega and the Young Bucks. I'm not sure.
I messed something up, but
yeah.
I thought there was somebody.
It's Jericho and partners to be named, and those partners to be named are going to be EYFBO. So how do I miss that, right?
Yeah.
Also, but you already be able to establish. So NXT starts prior to, so you can start watching NXT, see how that's going.
Yeah.
And you're already 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in.
3 weeks in.
So then.
But here's the other thing. All right, I'm fantasy booking now, right? I'm Vince McMahon. I got competition on Wednesday nights at 8
o'clock. Do I have to kiss your ass?
No, not yet. Not yet.
All right, good. More.
I got to do something. I got to do something to keep viewers on my show and not go to the competition.
Compa?
Close.
2 things.
So what do I do? All right, fantasy booking here. I got to pop a rating. I got to pop a crowd. I'm putting the title on the line. I'm having Adam Cole, baby, defend his NXT championship against the returning Tommaso Ciampa. And I'm putting the belt on Ciampa. And that's how I'm keeping people from watching AEW.
When is the AEW? That's which one? That's the
right?
first. That's first.
Everybody loves Ciampa.
Yeah, and Ciampa's going to win the belt. That'll put a lot of butts in seats or whatever.
Somebody go sit in those seats.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So but that's what I mean. It's like if you've got Ciampa and Adam Cole for the NXT title on one channel, and you've got Jericho and his mystery partners against the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, who do you watch?
So,
it's
again, I'll be switching. I'll probably be switching back and forth, but I think the thing that gets me about NXT is now I've got all this other gunk in my head with what they've been doing with NXT and Evolve and moving guys up and moving them down. That there might be some extra draw for people that get a chance to see people on the main roster on a Wednesday at Full Sail.
Yep.
I don't care at all for that, and that's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see that. I want to see... I know it's not a developmental brand anymore, but I want to see these guys that are getting a chance and getting more...
So if it's not a developmental brand anymore, and you don't have that programming on Wednesday nights anymore on the network, do you maybe bring in Evolve and run Evolve on the network now? There's always been speculation about Evolve ending up on the network.
So all of a sudden, all the Evolve weekend shows end up becoming...
Yep, they're taped on the weekends, and then they go to the network. You can watch them live,
or they could put them on live. Maybe
you could watch them live still through
WWN. But is WWN even going to still be a thing, or are they just going to buy them out?
See, that's where everything is just what the hell is going on?
Right.
It's there's so many. You can start pulling a thread here, and your shirt comes unraveled because you just keep pulling because there are all these different things, all these different things that are tying in with Evolve. Like we were talking earlier with who ran in Toronto last weekend.
Oh yeah, so we were that's great. So we were just talking about that. So Evolve ran,
Yep.
Progress ran, what? Progress ran,
What?
Yep.
WXW ran,
Yep.
and I really feel like this is a farm system, like NXT UK. Did NXT UK run there too?
I don't know if they did.
I mean, Progress is
pretty much
a minor NXT UK, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's what we're looking at now. So yeah, I mean,
It's crazy.
it's like a farm system that they could do. They could
Because-
just very easily pick those up and run with them, and they could probably put those on that master tier, that higher tier,
the rumors of those
live
tiers that are
or
coming.
something like that.
So there's the rumors that are coming for different tiers with the network, where you have your free tier, which is some video, then you have your $10 tier, which is all the pay-per-views, and you have your $15 tier, which is all that included, plus supposedly Progress and Evolve. But I don't,
I really think WXW. I'm jumping the gun here, but I really feel like there's some sort of a tie-in here with WXW.
Okay, so just
might
to
be.
read, or did you already look this up? And it just
no, I didn't.
remember?
No, go ahead.
It's Omega and the Young Bucks
Okay.
versus Jericho.
That's what I thought.
It's
And
Omega
two-
in the
two-
box. Okay, I thought it
and
was
two
cool.
mystery
Yep, two mystery
two
partners.
mystery EYFBOs.
Yeah, two mystery Puerto Ricans from New York,
Two mystery Pazuzus.
from the Pazuzu Project. I wonder who that could be.
And then
Yeah. Well, so, like I said, you're going to be pulling at threads all night, and I worry, you're right, I worry about Vince getting involved.
It's
It's
inevitable.
Right. I was gonna say, how do you be worried about it? You know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm worried
It's
about
gonna
it.
suck when it happens.
And you know what
It's gonna happen.
But you're
You know
gonna
what I'm
smell
really-
it from a mile away.
You know what I'm
Like,
really worried about? And it's not how he gets involved with creative and booking and everything like that. I'm more concerned with what happens tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but tomorrow. Ranella.
Wait. Oh, tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Yeah, go like that.
Sorry.
So, I worry because he's been able to call matches without having that extra voice in his head. You know, Vince gets on everybody's headset and tells them what to say. I don't want that here. And if that starts to happen, then I'm going to be watching AEW and not watching NXT at all.
Totally inevitable. And I think that's the thing. Like, it's like, yeah, you're going to give me 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it is ahead of AEW. But if you think that my habit is already in place in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you're way off base.
No, right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And to be honest, you know what I want to see? And this is me being a complete and total hypocrite. I want to see Broldberg. I want to see Matt Riddle and Goldberg in NXT. Go ahead.
Okay. It's on network television now. Why not, right?
Put it on that first week when they're all together. That third week, or whatever. The fourth week, whatever. Something like that. Something like that. You want to try to draw them in like that, and then get Goldberg the fuck off his
So
TV.
listen,
Right.
this is also another way to get Riddle to WrestleMania to retire Brock Lesnar. Because now if he's on mainstream network television, people are going to know who Riddle is.
Yep.
And it's not going to be so far-fetched to think, hey, this guy can take on Lesnar and retire him at WrestleMania. I'm not saying it's going to be this WrestleMania. Maybe it's at WrestleMania 37, which is rumored to be in Las Vegas, where UFC does a lot of stuff. And Lesnar's ties to UFC, and Riddle being from Riddle's from Las Vegas. He's not from Las Vegas, but he was billed from Las Vegas for a long time.
Who's really from Las Vegas?
But so, yeah, I don't think
Giving
anybody.
the old bro to sleep.
Yeah, so maybe that's one of the things that we get out of this. I don't know. Maybe this could be a good thing. I'm still on the fence. I'm kind of.
I'm not
nervous.
your bro.
I'm nervous about Vince's involvement. I'm nervous about a few things, and I will be, like I said, I will be watching AEW for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be my default is AEW, but again, name recognition is going to be where I end up falling. Like, name recognition will be where I go, and I'm probably not going to record. I'm probably going to just watch until it gets to a point where I feel like, oh, crap, what did Len just tell me I missed? And then I'm not going to be able to watch because now I have to go back and see it. So then, until that happens, I'll probably just watch live and grab my couple of hours and switch back and forth.
Yeah, so... Cool. All right, guys. Good talk about this topic. This is where we're going to wrap things up tonight because I still got to plug in this interview, this conversation with John Sebastian from Sports Entertainment Experience. And Don's raising his hand. You do know you don't need to raise your hand. You can just talk.
Yeah, I can't really see you anyway.
I have something to say. I have to interrupt.
Why don't you speak up so everybody can hear you at home? Or just come over here and talk to them. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, we're out of time. We got to go. What do you got, Don?
I got a C in my draft. This was suck it. That's average.
Really? Yeah. I got a B minus.
Hey, listen, so for everybody at home, Don, how much...
My throat's sore.
Okay, so you're not going to talk then. Okay, I'll answer this one. How much research did you do going into this draft?
How many hours?
You have papers in your lap that you printed out.
It doesn't mean
from numerous websites.
Spreadsheet.
Like this is like.
Doesn't mean I read them. I thought it was gonna. I thought the work was gonna do itself. So probably 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
The most of the work was printing it out and saving it to the computer, and reading it and actually studying it. Oh.
I put in negative 15 minutes because I missed 3 rounds of the draft. I got a C+.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which is what, Don, what did you get? What now?
So, wait. That means you auto-drafted the first 3 picks.
First 3 picks were auto-drafted for me. Yeah.
And you still got a C+.
Listen.
Huh. Yeah. Okay.
Some kids were just good at school and they excelled. They didn't have to study and do their homework.
That was me.
Other people did their homework and still didn't do good.
And on that,
Don, we love you.
Good podcast.
Thanks for being on the podcast this week, Don.
Hey, no problem.
Hey, all right, so that'll do it for us for this tonight. Stay tuned for the conversation with John Sebastian over there at Sports Entertainment Experience, over there at Pro Wrestling Exchange, soon to be on Independent Wrestling TV on Saturday mornings. That's pretty cool. He'll talk about that a little bit here. And also, him and I discussed this move to the USA Network for NXT and a myriad of other things, including Jim Cornette, which is kind of a fun listen, because Jim Cornette was in the news that day, and he said some not nice things about Jordan Grace. So we talk a little bit about Jim Cornette. So stay tuned for that. Hashtag stay tuned. And then after that, don't forget to do that dope shit, folks.
Do the dope shit.
Do the dope shit.
Do the dope shit.
And welcome.
The
old catchphrase. We're up here at Sports Entertainment Experience, hanging out with our good friend John Sebastian up here, just BSing and talking some wrestling. So we figured, what the hell, let's throw the microphone on and record some of this good stuff.
So, just so you guys all know, my girlfriend and I walk around our house and say, and welcome, or, and we're back. We do it constantly because in the lead up to American Rado, we actually listened to, I think, everything that you guys had put out there, but specifically the show that you did when you were at Foxwoods.
Yeah.
We listened to that a couple of times. We listened to it once, but over the course of a couple of different listens, because we would put it on and then go to sleep at night and whatnot. And we just both kind of picked up and welcome.
My catchphrase is catching on then.
Yeah, it is. It's a catchy catchphrase.
I used it this week because we did the 3-parter. So I recorded with Ryan, and then I did the quick conversation with Flip, and then Conrad and I went in to do our Battle of New England booking, and I did and welcome back. So that's a new one. So
I didn't hear Battle of New England booking. You guys like fantasy booked
We
this
fantasy
tournament?
booked, so we did the first round on last week's podcast.
What did you have? Tell it to me, then I'll tell you why it's wrong.
It was absolutely wrong because I went through Cage Match and I grabbed some names, and Conrad did his own thing where he did qualifiers, and it's a whole.
Oh, you guys like went.
We went into it. When we did the first round, we're going to do a second round.
So what are some of the names in it?
Oh, okay. So I've got Dickinson, Eric Stevens, Session Mark Martina, Kikatoro.
This is the Battle of New England.
Yeah, it's
None of
a
those
battle
people.
in New England, right?
None of those people live in New
Exactly,
England.
right. So Conrad's busting my balls. He's like, you probably got Ethan Page winning this thing, and he's from Canada.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, the whole thing, Battle of New England, best in New England, I don't even know.
Yeah.
The whole concept for me went totally off the rails when I probably smoked a little bit too much weed that night.
Yeah, you've mentioned Florida, New York. Canada,
yeah,
and
UK with Martina,
and nobody in New England.
Yeah, mine's shit. Mine is horrible. Conrad's, as he's reading it off to me, I'm like, God damn, I like yours better.
That's all right though, because the Battle of Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken, has almost nobody from Los Angeles.
So I think that's where I get the caveat. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. But his is like everybody that we've seen. So he's got like Yuta and all those guys. I tried to stay away from guys anybody might have been signed or anything like that. But it was just total shit show. Throwing names in a randomizer. Who do I put in this match?
Yeah, and I mean, I love the name Bone. I love the sequel.
Yeah,
Boner.
Yeah.
Battle of New England Returns. I think it's all fantastic.
Yeah, and subconsciously I probably heard it somewhere when Beyond wasn't really on my radar, because there was a period of time where I was just intimidated by Beyond.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was when they were running the Raw alternative shows, and then all I saw was people against the ring banging on the ring, and I'm like, oh, is that for me? I don't know.
It's actually a good point that you make. And that's actually something that we've talked about, in that there are such loyal, such hardcore fans who have such a level of comfortability when they're at a Beyond show that it's really hard for a new fan to enter that environment and feel almost like, it almost sometimes feels like you're a kid in the first day of school at a new school or something. But
awkward. Do I go to the ring? Do I stand back here? Where's my place here?
You develop that comfortability pretty quick, because our fans are really cool.
And it took me a couple shows before I was up on the ring.
Yeah, and you're like,
It was back in Aurora, standing against the wall, and then you inch kind of forward, and then you start to meet the guys around the ring, and you make friends. And now it's like they open a spot for you, and like, hey, get up here.
Yeah.
This is where the best seat is, and that it almost becomes a Beyond family with a bunch of the guys.
It really does. I love that atmosphere. I love like the understanding of like, if somebody has a good match, you can tap their boot. Can't do that anywhere else.
Right.
Things like that. For me personally, though, standing through those shows it sounds like I'm an old man at this point in time, and it's like unless so when I started going to Uncharted Territory every week, I decided early on that I wouldn't be doing my proper due diligence to view things from the fans' perspective unless I watched one show from that perspective.
Right.
Because I would mostly just kind of stand back near the entrance or at the door or off to the side, because more than often than not, we're talking about what we're doing next versus watching what's in the moment. But I decided I wanted to watch one show from that perspective. So I grabbed longtime Beyond fan Jay Rubin. And I said, I need to stand next to you just for this show, so make sure that like I have like that spot. And he did. And I think I made it one match.
Oh, really?
And I was like, well, now I understand their perspective, but I got to take a load off.
The leaning helps. It really does. If you can lean, like I've got a bad back, so if I'm leaning against the ring, that's more comfortable for me than just standing up in the back of the room or something like that.
I'm really surprised that atmosphere hasn't caught on with more promotions too, because I think we've proven, like we've developed proof of concept that like
it works.
It works, and nobody's getting hurt, and everybody kind of the fans kind of have an unspoken understanding of when they're not supposed to be.
The respectability.
If there's going to be a dive, everybody kind of clears, and nobody's really like elbowing to get to the front. It's just kind of like if you know that you want to stand in line at the door first, and everybody kind of respects that, and it's just like a mutual like 300-way respect.
It really is.
That works, and that maybe that's just completely unique to Beyond. But I'm really surprised like more places haven't tried to duplicate that feeling, because things like guardrails and chairs are expensive
to rent, right?
And they create another level of danger.
Right.
Like more people get hurt on guardrails than get hurt on the dive.
I was at an NEW show, one of my first NEW shows in Bethany, and one of the announcements they made was don't stand on the chairs. So that's one of the things you got to remember is like you got to tell these guys, hey, respect the equipment outside the ring. So if you have to rent these or if they're part of the upkeep of the building or the deposit, you really got to worry about that stuff. So that gives you something less to worry about when you're running the shows.
One of the insider things that people don't know so much about is all of the collateral that's involved in a wrestling show and how those things are going away, and nobody really knows that. Like chairs, for example, is a great example.
Yeah.
When we did the Lethal Lottery, I had to rent all of those chairs because I just don't have 200 chairs. But then you have to tell everybody, hey, don't break the chair because I've paid a deposit on all this equipment and they're expecting it all back. Whereas if it's your environment, the chairs that we're sitting on right now, I own these chairs, they're not ideal for wrestling purposes, but the chairs that are ideal for wrestling purposes are no longer available to be shipped from like Target, and you can just buy whatever inventory remains at like a Walmart or a Target, and then they're gone. And I don't want a bunch of mismatched chairs because that bothers me too.
Well, yeah, the aesthetic of it as you're watching from home, you want to see you've got a blue chair, a red chair, a gray chair. It's like, come on, they're just piecemealing everything together.
Yeah. And so that stuff can be done tactfully and tastefully to create atmosphere. Like Lucha Underground used to have a very dirty arena, but it was done purposely and it was done deliberately and it worked really, really well.
Yeah, it was a set.
Yeah, it was a set. Whereas, some shows I watch and it's like there's 4 people in the crowd and they're all sitting in a different kind of chair.
Yeah.
One of them being like a beach chair. It's just like, all right.
Imagine with a camp chair, folding chair that's got the little table.
Yeah, the cup holders.
And the cup holders, the rocking ones are just, hey,
But something like people like nowadays, a lot of people are like, why are we doing doors instead of tables? And most, not necessarily, because I'm a big proponent in I'll spend more money to get an effect that I want because I feel like it increases the overall quality. Doors are obviously cheaper.
Yep.
But you can't get tables anymore because Staples and Office Max and all these places all moved to a folding plastic
table. I was thinking BJ's, but BJ's is all plastic.
It's all plastic now. So what you need is the particle board wood tables.
Yep.
For American Rana, we had 2 of them, but the initial table that's been used for years in wrestling, I couldn't find.
Wow.
Couldn't find it at all, and wound up finding a table that was a foot higher and 2 feet wider, and only 2 of them were available. So I grabbed those, and there was a legitimate concern on my part. I didn't really convey it to anybody. That I didn't want anybody to get hurt because the bump was going to be different. So that's why guys go with doors. But the problem with doors is they can't support as much weight as a table.
Yeah, break a lot easier.
I personally think I can build a table that mimics what the old tables used to be because you can buy a sheet of particle board and you can buy table legs. And you can get contact paper to cover it to give it that same time. So that might actually be a division of sports entertainment experience at some point where I'm actually building.
Supplying all these independent wrestling promotions with tables.
Yeah, exactly. You guys want to do a show here? Here's the price catalog. How many tables do you need? How many chairs do you need? I'll start working on them. And I mean, like, a shortage of chairs should be a good thing. Unprotected chair shots are not. I mean,
well, you saw how everybody freaked out when Cody took that shot to the head.
So I have a different opinion than most other people, in that people really freaked out about that shot to the head, and they said the chair was gimmicked and he got cut on the. And I mean, I think it was probably stupid to say that the chair was gimmicked.
Right, they probably shouldn't have come
even
out
if you did cut like the pins or whatever. Like, why would you say that? Like,
because kayfabe is dead.
I got a phone call. Can we pick?
Yeah, we can pause this real quick. Okay, and we're back.
And we're back. I had a phone call right in the middle of talking about building
chair
tables
shots
and chair shots
stuff.
and all that stuff.
Yeah, so all that on the side note, you know.
The one point I did want to make, though, was my standpoint on unprotected chair shots.
Yeah.
As long as there's not overwhelming outside pressure from a promoter or an agent or anything to try and convince somebody to take the chair shot, if that performer,
Yeah.
for whatever reason or another, feels like they want to take the chair shot and there's enough information and education out there on, head trauma and things like that.
Yeah. Grown men making decisions.
It's a grown man making a decision
Yeah.
at that point. And I can't speak for any other promoter, but I've never been in a situation where I've heard a promoter say, I need you to take an unprotected chair shot. That's generally the performer saying, this is what I want to do. And they have their own personal reasons for
They're
it.
laying out the match themselves. It's not like you go to them and say, this is what you're doing anyway. So, yeah, so that was that topic. So today was a kind of a crazy day in the world of mainstream professional wrestling.
Sure was.
We touch on this a little bit here. So we've all known going forward that AEW was going to end up somewhere, and Wednesdays seemed to be the logical place, and thus one of the reasons we're moving uncharted territory from Wednesday to Thursday. But now it sounds like Wednesday is getting a little bit more crowded on the national television network scene, with NXT going live for 2 hours on the USA Network.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like, NXT is only cool because it's relatively underground at the moment. And it's the most mainstream version of underground that could possibly exist because they're owned by the WWE and they're, all consistently one of the most watched shows on the network. But when guys get called up, some of the reactions they get, it's clear that those day-to-day mainstream fans aren't paying attention to NXT so much. So now you get them in a position where they're on USA and they're broadcast to the world, and they're no longer developmental at that point. Developmental is a thing of the past. Even the name NXT isn't really applicable anymore
because the next one's up.
You're primetime television on USA. You're not a developmental program.
I feel like the call-up aspect of it, people are like, oh, well, how do they're going to have an ever-changing roster with NXT. And I'm like, no, they're not, because you're not going to get call-ups when everybody's on the same level.
I mean, they can say, you can position it however you want. It's a reactionary move to AEW, and it's almost as if I don't know the proper phrasing, but to me it feels like a way to compete with AEW while also trying to demean their product, but in turn you're also demeaning yours. In that you're saying, we'll let our developmental guys compete against you indie crusaders and see how that goes, because it's not worth the time or competition of our main roster.
Well, they're also getting a $50 million a year payday out of it too. So there's always that aspect of, as this giant conglomerate company, this big corporation, is there to make money and increase their stock prices. And the move seems like it did that. It moved the needle today a little bit on their stock price, but I don't know if that's going to be a long-term gain.
I mean, I think the stock moved $2.71 or something like that. Their stock was actually a great fucking investment back in the day.
Well, yeah, I think it was opened at like $12 a share, and now for a little while it was over $100 a share.
Yeah, and now it's settling in the 70s.
77.
$50 million is great, and I really genuinely hope that money gets redirected back to the talent.
Yeah.
They have so many deals that produce so much huge chunks of revenue that even by throwing ridiculous contracts at people where you're like, holy shit, you're making Kevin Nash money, and you're at the point of entry into the company, they're still not even scratching the surface on a redistribution of wealth.
No.
So I really hope that the guys who are grinding away in NXT on like developmental contracts are able to renegotiate and get bigger paydays. And I hope, more so than that, I hope that they all feel creatively fulfilled in what they're doing. Because there's a fine line between living your dream and selling your dream.
Yes.
And I hope that they're able to do a little bit of both.
And you look at it right now, we've lost over the last couple of years, just looking at Beyond's roster and looking at Beyond's fingerprints all over the WWE and now the AEW landscape. You look at it and you go, we've talked about Dijak being there now. I think I tweeted out a video from Bye Bye Beautiful, which was now 2 years ago. And it's like, what has he done in 2 years? And it's not a knock on him. It's more so they've got all the toys in their toy box, and how many are they playing with at a time?
Yeah, and I mean, it's easy for us to make the parallel to it being a Beyond product. And some people can say, well, it's more of an indie thing. It's more like these guys were also appearing for Bar Wrestling and Alpha One. And is it specific to Beyond? No, but pound for pound, I don't know that any other promotion has ever put together so many people to move on to the next step as Beyond. And as an example, I watched Donovan Dijak versus Biff Busick the other day here from FET. And I watched that match, and when it was over, I was just like, how am I not watching this match or some version of it constantly?
You have both of them on your roster.
And I'm really happy that former Biff Busick, Oni Lorcan, is now working a program with Drew Gulak because they're both kind of Beyond originals, and now they get that opportunity to shine. But it really bums me out when I look at, and it's not just, so we're incredibly biased because the people that we work with are in some cases regional or a wider scope than that, and we root for those guys. But outside of that, there's guys from various regions who we've never worked with or seen, who in some other part of the country or world have also gone through these impressive paths to get there that are also not being used. Like Swerve. Swerve is a good example. I don't know anything about Humberto Carrillo.
No, me neither.
I know nothing about him, but I'm sure he worked his ass off to get to where he is. All I know is that when I watch that dude live, he looks like he weighs a shitload more than 205 pounds. But outside of that, like, they changed his name. I don't know what his new name is, but Eric Bugenheim.
Oh, yeah, Bugenheim. Yeah,
like,
the air guitar guy.
The air guitar guy. That guy seems to be a pretty talented dude who I've never heard of before.
Yeah, he's entertaining. I think I saw him at Kingston.
And then I look at guys like, Stokely Hathaway.
Oh, my God.
Who, I want to say Malcolm Bivens.
Malcolm Bivens.
Everything I see I think he does like a certain loop of house shows and stuff around there.
Yep.
And everything I see from him and everything I read from him is still as entertaining as it's ever been. Hopefully that dude sees the light of day with this new expansion because he's somebody who should, but they have a logjam of guys to get to that point. And are we reaching critical mass? Where now what's the next step? Does Evolve get a regular show on the network, and then we channel guys through there, and that becomes the new wagon at NXT and goes up, and now we have a Thursday live program on the network to supplement the fact that NXT is no longer recorded in a 4-episode shot. It's because it's going to have to be live.
It's going to be live every
Even
week.
if they do it every other week, it's not going to work. So
from Full Sail.
Has to be live every week, and it can't be a touring brand because they won't draw.
No, and it'll save them money in production. But it's funny that you mentioned the Evolve thing. When I was writing down my thoughts this morning for the podcast coming up this week to talk about this, I wrote down Evolve to WWE Network ? Because there's always been the talk of the tier. They've been sending out these the surveys about tiered pricing with the network, and Evolve is one of the things. And they just had that 10th anniversary show. So now that with them losing the content of, well, they're not really losing it because they're going to air it the next day, but the exclusive content, maybe Evolve is the next one that shows up on the network.
Maybe.
And now that's another Thursday night competition.
I wouldn't be worried about running head-to-head against Evolve. That wouldn't bother me much.
No.
For uncharted territory. Maybe it's naive to think this way, but I would think they would want to avoid running against us because so many of
Well, you guys share talent.
Yeah, we do. We share talent and we create talent.
Yeah.
We know at some point we're going to lose the guys anyway.
Right.
We know that it's going to happen.
And that's why you have the gauntlet and the Discovery Gauntlet to help create the next round of stars.
And let me tell you, that next round is getting scooped up at a rate with which is like blistering how fast those guys are going from the local circuit to the Discovery Gauntlet to a major show.
I feel like they don't care anymore. They don't care about the experience you have under your belt, because as long as you know how to work and you know, maybe you could, you know, here and there, but with the PC, they can make you whatever they want you to be.
If you get to the PC, but if you just sign a contract with another organization and you don't have PC benefits, like if you sign I don't know the term, I've never read an Evolve contract,
right?
But I don't think that those guys.
Oh, so you're saying they're getting scooped up by the Evolve contracts too?
So just
everybody's got contracts
in the
nowadays.
scope of the season 1 uncharted territory. I don't know people's contractual statuses. I do know that Tristan Ty, who worked 2 shows with us, 3 shows. He worked Destination Uncharted Territory. Mm-hmm. He worked in the opener of the 4-way. He worked at the Secret Show in Boston, and he was in the Discovery Gauntlet. And not a guy whose name I really saw outside of that. Here and there, he would pop up at like local shows. Super nice guy, super talented guy, but not somebody I would consider to be like a well-traveled veteran at this point in the game. Just debuted for MLW in Contra Unit under a contract with them.
Wow.
I don't know the terms of his contract, but I mean that seems to be an aggressively accelerated signing and then debut. And I know that, like, as we went through the Discovery Gauntlet, especially in the back half, we had, you know, Thomas Santel for the right through the heart of the middle of that show, and Thomas Santel has a tremendous amount of value to anybody that he's working with.
And he's got a tremendous amount of experience.
But coming off of that, Christian Casanova worked Ring of Honor.
When they were up in this area. Yep.
Daniel Garcia, our current Gauntlet holder, is working Evolve at the end of September. So it becomes like the path, it doesn't necessarily lead to the Performance Center just from the point of contract.
Okay.
The path can just kind of lead to not being able to work other independents through the point of contract, at which point that becomes more of like a political discussion or a, you know, what's better for you personally. You know, guys like Anthony Green and Josh Briggs, those dudes will 100% make it to that Performance Center. But what's going to be there when they get there? What are they working toward if there's no longer a developmental?
Well, Josh is working towards Taker. We all know that.
Josh Briggs, at some point in my life, will be the most famous person that I'm friends with.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with a few famous people right now. Josh Briggs will be the most famous person that I'm friends with, and that's really cool.
Yeah. He's such a nice guy too.
He hates everybody.
He does. He really does. And
but
that
for whatever reason, he likes
that
me.
T-shirt is so cool.
The Bitch Destroyer
Oh my
T-shirt.
God.
Pre-order yours now. He's like a genuine good guy. He's one of the good guys. He's a friend, and I don't know what he wants his end game to be in life, but dude's only been wrestling like 2 years.
Yeah.
In 3 more years, he will be. In 3 more years, he'll probably be getting me free tickets to a WWE show, the way that some other guys do now. Yeah. But like those guys are destined for stardom. There's nothing that can stop them. So whether or not they have a piece of paper with Evolve or not, I understand why they would do it, and I understand the next step of progression. The point that I'm making is that I hope with NXT going to USA that there's still something there for those guys to go and do. Because what would be the worst case scenario is for somebody like a Josh Briggs to get the contract and the money, and he's about to be married and probably start a family and all that great stuff, and he deserves the money. Don't get me wrong, that dude deserves whatever amount of money you're willing to give him.
Absolutely.
I just truly hope that he doesn't just collect the money without doing anything.
From the conversations I've had with him, I don't think that that's the case. I think he's always going to be the ambitious type to want to go to the next level and just keep bettering himself.
And
it won't be on his volition.
Yeah, he won't have anything to do with it.
It'll be him, like, again, in the toy box or the toys that aren't getting played with.
Yes, that would be a true travesty, is guys through the absolute prime of their career.
Well, you hear stories about that now. You hear guys who are there, they can't get their release.
I think I said 2015 to 2017, Beyond Wrestling is in NXT right now. 2017 to 2019 is in AEW right now.
Right.
And the guys in NXT, I hope that it's just a matter of cycling for a story to get them there. And I wish that it would be a situation where they would take a step back and say, we have 5 hours of television to fill on. We're on SmackDown, instead of let's build some new stars. If it comes down to building guys who are mid-carders to main eventers, and then bringing in guys from NXT to be undercard wrestlers, and then bringing in guys from the Performance Center to fill out the undercard NXT and work that progression and continually do it, and do it in 10-year cycles, that would be ideal. And we know everybody would get their fair shot and work through, and the cream will rise to the top, and there's only going to be a Rock and a Stone Cold and a John Cena once in a lifetime. But for those guys also needed Steve Blackman and Owen Hart and D'Lo Brown to work with them. And not only do we not have another Rock, Steve Austin, or John Cena right now, but we don't even have the Steve Blackmans and the Al Snows to be the dance partner for those guys, because they just don't exist. So what we're seeing is just a collection of 50-50 booking that goes on in perpetuity forever. And it just gets so frustrating to watch. And the mindset could be, more wrestling is a good thing, but it's not. More wrestling can be a bad thing, because the guy who's hanging on by a thread to Monday Night Raw, and every week pays less and less attention to it. Me too. Last night was the first time I put on Monday Night Raw in forever, because I thought there was going to be an announcement about NXT, and I wanted to hear it. I listened to it in the background. What I saw was good. I paid attention to the King of the Ring qualifying matches. I thought were excellent.
I was in bed by 9:30.
I was on my computer working, and it's like
I woke up to the tag titles changing hands, and I said, "Wait, what?"
So what's going to happen is you're gonna giving too much of a great product is great for everybody.
Right.
Too much of a mediocre or a bad product is bad, because what's going to happen eventually is that wrestling fan is going to look at his watch, and it's going to be 8:30, and he's going to be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." And he's just not going to watch. And then the more time progresses, the more it's just they're going to lose interest, and then it's going to be really hard for someone at my level to talk to that guy and say, "Hey, why don't you come to a wrestling show?" Because immediately ingrained in their head is
the lapsed fan.
They're a lapsed fan, and the more lapsed fans and listen, the ratings will tell you that they're creating lapsed fans at a breakneck pace, and it's the faster you lose them, the longer it takes to regain them.
So much harder to bring them back.
Right now, I feel like I could probably reacquire a bunch of Attitude Era fans to become Beyond fans, or a bunch of ECW fans to become Beyond fans.
I can see the correlation between the two easily.
But it's did those lapsed fans become fans again during the summer of Punk, and now they're just falling off rapidly, and it's the same group of people? I don't know. And it's just it's a daunting challenge. Are there more wrestling promotions and shows than there are fans to go to them? I don't know. I mean, AEW would say no, there's not, because they're still selling out every building they're going to. But they're also kind of selling those buildings out blind. Because
they haven't run a television show. They've run the 3...
Yeah, they have a 3-show sample size of a pay-per-view or a testing. I can name one storyline that's happening there, maybe 2 if I had to think about it. But really, they're selling those shows out blind. So maybe they'll sell them out forever. I don't know. But at some point, it's going to have to be good wrestling or a good product. And those guys are all good wrestlers. And the guys that they've grabbed are all good wrestlers. So, I mean, I hope
Yeah,
that they continue to grow. But like at some point, are they going to be overstaffed?
after WCW went down, everybody always said, the more places for guys to work, the better. And nowadays, you kind of have that with the independent scene. You have a ton of places for these guys to work that are notable, and then you have the little ones underneath that are kind of popping up here and there.
It depends on your definition of independent, but this is the first time in probably the history of wrestling post-territory days where a wrestler can make an active decision to remain independent and still make a living.
Joey Ryan just did it.
Joey Ryan, David Starr.
Absolutely, David Starr, yeah. He's
Depending on where Impact falls for you, you can also look at guys like Ethan Page and Jordan Grace.
Yes. I kind of use the bar of, do you have a national television deal? I think that's kind of, but again, with Impact, it's kind of wishy-washy, because do they have a television deal? Sometimes
Why is that important, though? Like, who?
Exposure, maybe? I don't know. I always feel like that's how it was.
Does anybody watch television that's not part of a streaming service other than, like, live sports?
The way you watch television has changed over the last 10 years.
Absolutely. So, is it important to have, live television, or is like GCW doing something completely above what anybody else is executing by just working off of a pay-per-view model that TNA failed with back in the day?
Well, that's what I was going to compare it to, is that the original TNA model where they did weekly pay-per-views.
Yeah. I don't know that television, national television is it might be the benchmark. I don't know that it should be the benchmark. I feel like more people probably watch Impact on Twitch than do on.
Yeah.
I don't even know what network they're on now. Pop or
no, they're not on Pop.
Destination. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. Was it the Outdoor Channel or something at one point? Or
I watched their show. I watched their product online as. I don't follow it like religiously. Like I couldn't tell you who the champions were right now, other than the North.
The North,
because I'm fans of those guys.
Me too.
So
right.
I'll seek out their content.
And I know Tessa just had a hell of a match with.
I'm a fan of Tessa.
Sami Callihan.
When LAX was there.
Yes. That was when I was tuning in. When EYFBO LAX was there, that kind of drew me in because, again, we know those guys.
I jokingly said at one point, I don't remember the exact thing that I said, but it was something along the lines of Impact Wrestling is like an ex-girlfriend in that you're too hurt by what they've done in the past to have a relationship back together, but you'll pick up the phone for a booty call here and there.
Yeah.
And that booty call being EYFBO.
Yeah.
It's pretty much.
Because back in the day, the original TNA stuff with AJ and all those guys, Samoa Joe.
God, I loved it. I loved it.
Machine Guns. Conrad and I were talking the other day about the Paparazzi Patrol or whatever it was called with Nash and Alex Shelley. It was just... that's what the stuff was really good.
The thing about TNA is it was so... Even when it was stupid, it was still cool. When they did like the fucking Flying Elvises and all that. I watched it every week on pay-per-view when it first came out because my dad was one of those dads who had like the box.
That's how I did it too.
But they had me. They had me as a fan because guys like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels were just so like...
That X Division tore it.
They were above what anybody else was doing. Amazing Red was there.
Kurt Angle had some killer matches.
Where they lost me to the point where they couldn't reacquire me was Hogan. It was more, I want to say it was more Dixie Carter than it was Hogan. Like just the choices that she made. The Hogan stuff, I was actually open-minded to it at first because it's like, all right, well, maybe it'll be different.
They're going to go Monday nights live against Raw. Yeah, it didn't work.
Weird decision-making. Had a great video game, had cool toys. Like everything pointed to success. And that's like the worry for me. But here's the other thing. The first TNA pay-per-view drew 100 people. Paid.
Yeah.
So it's like every independent show happening right now is outdrawing the first TNA show. So I don't know. It's like just a weird. It's a weird time to be a wrestling fan and to have an insider's perspective on the business and how it happens. AEW, I hope it really comes down to how much knee jerk reaction those guys will have to things being like viral or visceral or anything like that. And I hope that it's not an extreme knee jerk, because like right now, like the Jim Cornette having a big online presence to. It doesn't bother. His opinion doesn't bother me because it can be your opinion.
Right.
You're open to it, and your followers can agree with you.
Well,
that's completely fine. What bothers me is that they're not completely educated opinions.
No.
They're opinions based on gifs and clips in a battle royal, and like with Orange Cassidy, like.
Yeah.
Watch that guy's body of work and then give me your opinion on him.
Yeah,
Don't give
just
me
look at his laissez-faire. Just hey,
if you see him eat a sandwich and put his hands in his pockets for a small percentage of his routine, that's fine. But watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, don't watch the first 10 minutes of a movie and tell me the movie sucks.
Right.
Like,
My
give
biggest
it a fair
problem.
shake.
My biggest problem with the whole Cornette thing is that his followers are just so blindly following, and they're not looking into it. They're not making their own opinions. They're just following what he says, and then they're attacking. Like,
it's very much like I liken it to like MAGA extremists.
Yes.
Like, but the thing is, up until this point, Jim Cornette always has been touted as like a bit of a conservative Democrat.
Right.
But his following seems so like aggressively like opinionated that he feels very much like the Donald Trump of wrestling.
oh my God, yeah.
And I know that I was a pretty solid fan of Jim Cornette's for a very long time, and I was never like a Jim Cornette apologist or
Right.
anything, but right up until the point when you can like clearly define it as like the Sonny Kiss incident being the turning point for him, where he began turning off half of his audience, but aggressively ramping
Firing
up
up
the
his
other
base.
half. Yes.
It's just like the political
And
scene right now.
I tried to look at it super objectively and kind of like, maybe, I also don't like, there's a part of me that feels like, all right, maybe people are giving him a hard time because he's an older gentleman with a southern accent, and then what you're doing is effectively reversing the situation. But then he started saying more crazy shit. And then I'm just like, all right, you're full-blown crazy at this point. Like, I can't support you being sexist, calling girls butterface, telling girls to get back in the kitchen. At that point, you've worked yourself into a shoot, my friend.
Yeah.
Because make no mistake about it, your entire on-screen career was based on comedy. Just because you think you did it better than Orange Cassidy, maybe in 1985 you did, you don't do it better in 2019, and you might have sold out the Sportatorium back then, and you might say that these outlaw mud shows are drawing 42 fans, but the reality is very much different in that GCW is selling out venues about the size of the Sportatorium every time they
Around
run.
the world. They're going to Tokyo. They're going, they're in LA. They're all over the place.
And these shows are based off of the backs of guys like Joey Janela and Orange Cassidy and the Invisible Man and the Invisible Stand. They're selling out shows where Bryce Remsburg is the only character in the match. And those crowds are just as big as they ever were. And they're paying more money per ticket now. So you're wrong on all planes. You can, incite your fan base to say, it's an outlaw mud show and 42 people see it, but that's just not the financials of it, because if it was, GCW wouldn't run every fucking weekend all over the world. Like, it doesn't work that way. If they were just outlaw mud shows that nobody paid any attention to at all, Beyond wouldn't be able to run weekly with another 6 shows supplementally throughout the year to put together like something like 96 shows over the course of a year. Like, those aren't outlaw mud show things. You might be able to look at, I don't even fucking know, like, backyard wrestling with untrained guys and say, this is a bit of a mud show. Who cares? Are they safe? Are they being safe? Are they
entertaining people? Do people pay to see them?
There is a fine line there at that lower level, because it's like once you accept money from somebody to watch a show, you then have a responsibility to make sure that you're running your show properly and everybody's properly trained and whatnot. But the point is, like, we see a collective of super indies all over the country that are absolutely selling shows out.
Yeah.
And it's like you cannot define these as outlaw mud shows anymore.
No, it's a new territory system is what it is.
I was in Gardner, Massachusetts on Sunday for Anthony Green's debut show, the 01 USA Northeast.
Yeah, I've heard great things. The crowd looked phenomenal.
He sold out.
Yeah.
He sold out. I personally, when I heard about the show, Anthony's a very good friend of mine. I hope that my hope was enough people bought a ticket for him to not lose his ass.
Yeah. It's easy to do in this business.
Easy to do. It happens every single show.
It happened every Wednesday.
Yeah. So he did something that nobody does. The only other person I know that ever did it was me, and that we made money on our first show.
Yeah.
Not a lot of money, but something.
A little bit in is better than all of it out.
And it's, you can't look at that show. You can look at that show and say, it's a guy's first show. It's in an Elks Lodge. It's, guys who you haven't really heard of much. It's as independent as it gets. He's selling out fucking buildings. Is this a mud show? No. This is a professional wrestling event. And you can talk all of the shit you want, but Black Label Pro is still selling tickets, and ICW is still selling tickets, and Scenic City Invitational is still selling tickets, and they're still bringing in these talent that it's not cheap or easy to bring in Matt Justice or Shane Mercer or any of these guys that you see wrestling at all of these shows, but they're doing it. So obviously there's money there somewhere.
Yeah, so Cornice is way off base, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about anymore.
Exactly.
He has pivoted from. The sad thing is he has great stories and a great history base, but he's
a historian of the business too. He knows his shit. It's just he's got to look and see that the business has changed from 1985 in the South. It just has.
He's now developed shot culture as a form of revenue stream.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's. I just don't agree with it.
No, I don't either. And his fans just rile him up even more. But so with that, AEW is going to be on Wednesdays. You guys are going to be running Tuesdays and Thursdays. And this place, as we sit in the sports entertainment experience building, venue, I don't know, what's going to be the official name? Do you know that yet?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Do we have an official name for the building?
Sports entertainment experience.
Okay,
so the building itself.
I never know what to call it.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the studios? Is it going to be...
It's so weird. We have so many names, and it's just one of those things where we're collectively working with so many different creative entities that there's going to be a bunch of different names.
Yeah.
But it's... The compound itself is Sports Entertainment Experience.
Okay.
Featuring the IWTV Live Studio.
Okay.
And a to-be-named wrestling school.
Yep.
And then promotions of various names, including Beyond 01, Pro Wrestling Exchange, which is my Saturday morning promotion that I'm doing. So there's a lot of names happening, but essentially the web address is C Wrestling.
Okay.
CWrestlingRI.com.
Okay.
So SEE, Sports Entertainment Experience. See what we're doing.
There you go. And you mentioned the Pro Wrestling Exchange. You've got a show coming up in October, right? Tickets will be probably available on that SCE Wrestling, CWrestlingRI.com. And this place, you've had me up. You were gracious enough to have me up with a non-disclosure before America months ago, before you guys even announced anything. And I got so excited. I haven't told you this yet. I got so excited after you guys made the announcement that when we did the podcast, when we did the recording at Foxwoods afterwards. I'm spilling my guts. I'm like, shit. So I'm editing this. I cut it all out. I'm like, so I haven't.
I'm pumped that you guys are excited about it, and I think that it's impossible to come here and not initially get excited about it.
Oh my gosh!
Because there's so many cool things happening here. I think that just in the time that from when you came at a point where we were pretty pretty finished, and since then we've gotten like the entryway built.
Yep.
And really, I'm just kind of lacking the ring, which is obviously a big thing. But I mean, I could do a show in here today if I wanted to.
Oh God, yeah.
I can do a no ring show. We've gone through the process of licensing and permitting and all of those things, and we're waiting on a couple of things. Excuse me one second.
Yeah, no problem.
What was the last thing that I said?
So we were talking about the upcoming stuff we got going on, how easy it is to get excited when you come into the building and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's super easy to get excited when you come in here. The things that I get excited about when I come here every day is just starting to see the creation of life here, and that people will swing by here. And it's only a few people a day, but like yourself, and there's someone else here right now, and it's just a really, really cool communal thing that's starting. And now we're looking at, hiring in people and setting up this whole dynamic that is just. I know that I won't get rich here. I'm not in any way unrealistic. I'm actually, for what it's worth, I like to think that I'm a pretty intelligent, pretty well-experienced business person. And I know that I won't get rich here, but I know that I have the chance to create a community here. And when I die, the money's not going to matter anyway.
Right.
But the legacy will.
Yeah.
And I think that building something here that nobody on an independent level would ever take a shot to do is going to just be something that cements. They can still ignore us at that point. They can still ignore Beyond Wrestling. They can still ignore what we're doing. But we'll be undeniable. And we're creating that undeniability. And I don't really give a fuck if Vince McMahon or Tony Khan ever recognize it. I care that Chris Dickinson and David Starr and Joey Janela recognize it. And that's important to me. And when it's all said and done here, I think that we're going to create something super special. And I'm really happy with the progress that we're making to get there. And, some things are moving slower than I like, just because paperwork and lawyers and that stuff.
Well, look outside looking in, you look at it and you forget all the stuff that goes into setting up a business and creating everything behind the scenes, the hiring.
It sucks. Yeah. And not for nothing, I don't like doing it. I don't like doing it. I like the end result. I've always been a creator.
Yeah.
With Feast, I had a concept. I saw it through.
Yep.
I created something. That something was a spark that lit a wick that created an explosion. I want to do the same thing here. I want to bring back something that existed throughout the 70s and the 80s that just doesn't exist anymore. And I hope that enough people will want to come and see it for us to keep the bills paid and the lights on forever. And I don't need to get rich here. I don't.
It's about creating a legacy, too.
It is. It's about. We talked earlier about what is it more creative, to feel creatively fulfilled, or to make money?
Yeah.
I'm one of the lucky people in life that has been able to do both. I've made money, and I've, for the last 5 years anyway, I felt incredibly creatively fulfilled. And I can tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, creative fulfillment is worth more than money. So I'm hoping that we can just duplicate that.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
So to wrap things up, you got somebody on the story. We got Patty's, All Hands on Deck coming up. And then 01 is here.
We got a lot of shit going on. We have 36 shows through the end of this year. I don't know if anybody realizes that.
Because 4 months, 36 shows.
Because we're on a bit of a break right now. We have Patty's Beach Club, September 22nd. We have Sodom and Gomorrah in a double shot with the GCW No Sleep in New Jersey, October 12th. We have Point of Entry... edit that out. we have PWE Volume 1, October 26th. We have 01 Northeast Halloween Bash, October 27th. We have Heavy Lies the Crown, December 31st. We have 13 episodes of the yet-to-be-titled Discovery Gauntlet spin-off show. Mm-hmm. Drew and I wrote the funnest concept ever for that show. I'm really excited for that. We have 13 episodes of Season 2 of Uncharted Territory still to come. We have... There's more. I know that there's more. We have a shitload of shows.
Yeah, so that's enough to keep people, their appetites wet. And you need tickets or anything, go to Beyond Wrestling.
Beyond Wrestling online. My Twitter is always a good place.
I still use Look Mono Fans.
Look Mono Fans is one way to
use that.
You can go to lethallottery.com if you want to. So, one of the great things about being here is that at any point in time, I can just say on Twitter, we had a show in a half hour.
Yeah.
Joey Janelle is going to come down here and do a jam session. You guys want to come? We don't have to fucking book out a room and promote it for weeks or any of that, it's
the freedom of having the building.
We can just say, hey guys, there's some special shit happening here right now that everybody should see. I'm not selling you a ticket. Come down and check it out.
And you're in a great area too, where you're not in some garage in an industrial park somewhere either, where it's tough to get to, where you're worried about flat tires.
A lot of super famous dudes got started in garages and industrial parks.
I'm not knocking. I'm just saying you guys are at a different level where
this is a different environment.
This is very impressive, and everything that goes on. I told you the first time I came in, I got chills. I got goosebumps. It was.
Me too. I saw this when it was a Shakespeare. Or a one-man show type of production theater. And when I walked in, the only thing that I saw was...
Work up at the ring.
Yeah. Are the ceilings high enough? Because it's other than that...
I don't know how many rooms I've walked in, I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we're in the same brainwave. All right, John, thanks for taking time for us today. And,
brother.
And continue to do that dope shit, man.
Yeah, thank you.
And welcome back. Thanks to John Sebastian for coming on this week again with us and chatting up about... some fun topics there. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I just want to wrap up and apologize for the audio on that. We were in the Wrestling Arena studio section of Sports Entertainment Experience, and the ring wasn't set up yet, so it's kind of a little echoey, and that's why it sounded the way it did. That room's got great acoustics. It's going to sound great on TV when they finally get some wrestling going on in there, and that should be soon. So thanks for tuning in this week. Stay tuned for the conclusion of the Bone tournaments. We'll get to those soon. We haven't forgotten about it. Just I got to get Conrad and myself in the room at the same time. I want to thank Jamie and Don for stopping in this week and hitting up the podcast. And as always, at Rowdy, RHOWDY 17 on the Twitter. Follow Ryan. Hit up his DMs. They're open, girls, guys, pets, whatever. Slide in those DMs and tell them... you tell them you heard them on the podcast. And that's going to do it for us. Follow along at DDS Squad Pod on Twitter, at Dudope Shit Squad on Instagram, at Dudope Shit Squad on Twitter also for the group with just some nonsense of us and pictures and all that fun shit that we do. And you can follow me at Len Beebe, at Real Len Anderson. The old backyard wrestling gimmick is still alive. Sometimes I drop into the Enforcer and and cut a promo like a Martin Anderson back in the day. So thanks for listening. We went a little long on you this week. I hope it wasn't too long and you were entertained. And enjoy your week, and always continue to do dope shit.